Hi, this is Peter,
Hi, this is Sandra,
and we are medievalist.net.
and today we're talking about Game of Thrones.
Yes, we just saw another kind of action-packed episode, I have to say. And I really liked it, but
You like all the episodes.
uh, this one more than usual.
So let's start with Theon taking Winterfell. What did you make of it?
Uh, it was kind of like another interesting kind of observation of how Theon is kind of this divided character. He's divided with his loyalties. You can see he's kind of hesitant on what he should do, even after he makes this kind of bold step in taking Winterfell. Um, and it's kind of like, does he, how does he approach, like these guys that are trying to, can he get loyalty out of them? Can he kind of hold the city? Who can he trust and stuff like that? And he still has a lot of issues and troubles, but
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. He breaks into Bran's room and he's like, "You're gonna do this," and Bran's like, "No, no, I'm not." And even though he eventually does um, give Winterfell to Theon,
mm-hmm.
it's just that initial defiance and that nobody really respects him. And the fact that Theon keeps having to look to that one guy and's like, "Oh, no, no, you gotta kill him to show that you're the top dog," which that was like a very poignant scene because Sir Roderick tells him off and spits in his face. And Theon's like, "Well, we'll throw him in the dungeon." And the guy's like, "No, you gotta kill him or nobody's gonna respect you. He has to pay the iron price."
Yeah, it's
And
like
I thought let me finish. And I thought what was really great was Sir Roderick had this like awesome line. He said, God's help you, Theon Greyjoy. Now you are truly lost." Right before Theon butchers him because he doesn't even do a clean execution. He can't even his execution. Like if you see the Starks execute people, it's just one fell swoop and they're done. And then Theon is kind of maybe like sort of not foreshadowing, but telltale thing that he can't even execute somebody right, and he just, in the face of death, Sir Roderick is like, "It's okay, Bran. I'm going to go see your father. This guy's a loser. Take my head off." And they're all brave, and Theon just looks like a scared teenager running around playing at Lord.
Well, yeah, like he's raised as a Stark almost, and like he's got that kind of duel where, at one point, how honorable he should be, how he should be acting, and then he's got his family ties, which he's right now saying takes precedence. But to me, I liked, it's like he really is having, he's trying to get the loyalty of his people, of his of family. That's why he's telling everyone, "I'm a prince. Call me a prince. Not a lord." So.
And he even screws that up. I mean, in the end, he sleeps with Odette. I can't remember her name.
The wildling.
The wildling. Her name. It'll come to me. Anyways. And she sneaks off in the night with Hodor and Bram, and it's like he's just hopeless at everything he does. He can't even do it right.
Like I don't see like why she had to sleep with Theon, but like he was just basically she had sex with him until he falls asleep, but and she kills off one other guard. But like she could certainly have, it's not like exactly that she was trapped in Winterfell before that. Like obviously she could have. So it kind of seemed a little out of place. Like it didn't seem like a necessary. I understand. It's kind of makes sense, and like she kind of actually shows where her true loyalties lie. So
I think she like did it as a ruse so that he wouldn't keep an eye on her.
Yeah, like
so that he would trust her, so she could move about freely because she did ask for her freedom. So now moving on to Arya. So we figure out, well, not we figure out, Tywin figures out she can read.
Yeah, like Tywin's learning more and more about Arya each day. So, but he still is not able to, put two and two together. But so it's really kind of interesting. Like I like their little dynamic they have where they talk with each other, and seems to have some sort of trust with her. So, um, but they and you get more details of what their kind of plans are, and you get to see Littlefinger show up for a meeting, and I'm pretty sure he's figured it out right away that Arya, but he's not the type of person that's going to let that secret out
I
for
mean,
free. So
he might. Well, yeah, if the price is right, he might. And then here's the other thing. I like the fact that, she steals that letter and then gets caught by the dumbass who couldn't read the previous letter and gave it to the wrong house.
Yeah, they.
And in a panic, she's like, "Kill him now!" And she calls him that favor, kind of like some, 10-year-old hitman.
Yeah,
it's like really funny.
Like it kind of makes me think that there is some magic in play in this because there's no real possible way that guy could have caught up to him. Like he had like much a head start back to his but he winds up getting killed just as he reaches Tywin. So Arya's safe for another week.
Is she? Because we all know Peter Baelish knows who she is.
Yeah. I think Peter's gonna hold off on that until the time is right. So.
Right. And I also wonder if that letter wasn't placed there as a ruse.
Yeah, it was just lying there, and I couldn't.
Right?
I didn't read. I couldn't
Knowing
figure out
she
what.
would steal it.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what that was. It was obviously talking about Robb, but they maybe a plot against him. But.
And then of course we have Jon out ranging away in the Great White North, and they, do some battle with some wildlings and kill everyone except for this one girl named Ygritte. And they leave him to dispatch her, and it's an epic fail. What did you think of that? Introduction of the new character.
Yeah, like I man, she's a pretty girl, but like the wildlings, sure, like she seems to have suffered for her years in the icy barrens, but they again, it's all about like being a Stark, right? And like he can't get himself to kill like an innocent girl, or like innocent in his mind anyway. So like she's not done anything against him. She's helpless. So, and basically it winds up where they both kind of gotten lost, and now they're gonna have to rely on each other for help. And I can see the romance already starting to blossom between these two.
Yeah, she knows that as a man of the watch, he's kind of not getting any, so she starts wrestling up against him to keep warm. And he's just like, "Stop that!" That's a kind of funny scene because she's trying to, I think, provoke something from him, and we'll see where that develops because he chased her after she escaped. So far out of reach of his group, he has no choice other than to freeze in the cold or sleep with her at night.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's going to be now I can see there's going to be something happening with him. Like he'll be on his own for probably quite a while, I would think, because he can't really. If he goes back, she'll die probably fairly quickly because his superiors won't be as nice with her as he is. And if they get to the wildlings, I think he'd get killed. So I kind of see it now that the two of them are on their own. So, and I see some bonding going on there.
And then we have Dany, and she's in Karth, sort of going around. Well, not sort of. She is going around, trying to get ships and armies and help from the various lords. And there's that interesting exchange she has with the Spice King trader, commerce guy.
Yeah, this comes across as the most fantasy part of like this. They're in this kind of opulent city where all the characters are very over the top. you know, and it looks like we're gonna have some sort of adventure because you have all this kind of in the back, you know, in the background, people are plotting against her, and we see at the end someone's stolen the dragons. She's lost again half her army. So
Her protectors, her guards. So
I don't know where Ser Jorah is, you know, in all this, but they again, you know, to me, it was you know, like I kind of liked some of the scenes. Like I think it's gonna have come to like a kind of an interesting kind of subplot, like where it's keeping her in the city, right? To like where she has to kind of rescue her dragons. So which is gonna probably be the biggest test of her young career. So as mother of the dragons.
Well, you know, her only bargaining chip has just left the city in a basket on the back of some guy's back. So without those dragons, she's in trouble.
Yeah, she doesn't have very much.
No.
But
and then lastly, the last thing we want to talk about is the uprising in King's Landing, where Joffrey, for those of you who keep complaining, let me just put something straight to you all. I know his name's Joffrey. I don't care. I'm going to call him Joff. Okay, thanks. Next.
Okay.
So, you know, Joff has screwed up entirely, and they're walking through the crowd, and Tyrion, being the astute uncle that he is, looks around and sees the sarcasm and the anger in the crowd's faces, and he's like, quick, get everybody away. And just all hell breaks loose, and people brawling and throwing things at him and rising against him, and in supreme stupidity, he calls for everybody to be killed, which just really
it just inflamed the situation.
Yeah, exactly, dynamite into it.
Like it was that kind of typical, like, I guess the peasant crowd reacting violently, and then it's just kind of like, it's just interesting. Well, you know, everyone's kind of fends for themselves. Joffrey is like, he seems like, you know, oh, I want everyone killed, but he doesn't seem to have control of the situation. So
he has no control over any situation, and the best part was when Tyrion gets him alone and just backhands him one. And he's like, you struck a king. And Tyrion says, and now I struck a king. Did my hand fall from my wrist?
Oh, yeah.
And I just was dying. I was like, way to go, Tyrion, because somebody needs to slap him senseless just because of his sheer stupidity. I mean, Sansa almost gets raped.
Yeah,
the Hound saves her in the nick of time. But I mean, King's Landing is slowly, like, coming against the Lannisters. Everything's unraveling for them. And his rule, you know, as Tyrion said, you know, we've had, you know, sinister, violent kings and idiot kings, but we haven't had a violent and an idiot king all in one. I thought that was a great line, too. That was awesome.
I'm intrigued in Sansa's reaction, like, to, like, where she's like, oh, why did they try to, you know, rape me and kill me? Like, why are they so angry with me? And, like, she seems so naive, you know, so it kind of helps me kind of understand her character, as, you know, it seems like she really is out of it. Like, she is, like, you know, like, where she doesn't understand people's motivations. She doesn't understand her situation. You know, like, so...
I vary between pitying her and despising her. I just... Even in the books, I found her character very difficult to swallow. She's just... Even through everything that's gone on, she has moments of clarity, but for the most part, she's all about keeping up appearances and, you know, doing what she has to do, her duty. And she's totally has no, like you said, just no grasp on reality as to why people could possibly hate her. And, you know, Tyrion's girlfriend has to be the one who's like, you represent everything people don't have. I don't get how that just never, like you, just doesn't dawn on Sansa that you're rich, you're wealthy, you're engaged to the most hated king ever.
as soon as she's gonna, well, maybe she'll say, "Let them eat cake soon," and that would be,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
know, like seriously, and
they have no bread. Let them eat cake. That's what's served when we. So I can see maybe where they're getting the character from. So
right. So I mean, it's just you got to marvel at the fact that she's so clueless. But I mean, I thought that scene was really great. You just see how, you know, Cersei has to send off one of her daughter to get married, and you know, she's upset, so she takes it out on Tyrion, and then this whole uprising, and they all nearly get killed because of, you know, Joff's stupidity. I'm enjoying the downfall of the Lannisters immensely.
well, I hope Tywin doesn't go because I really like him so far. So. I guess like in terms of like this episode, I thought it was a very interesting. It was a lot kind of for me. It was a female centric episode where a lot of the main characters in this were the women, especially the two wildling women, um, and Arya as well. Like they were kind of the movers and shakers of this story, so of this chapter, I suppose, or episode. And yeah, and since I like that, I thought it was a pretty interesting episode. And any final thoughts from you?
I would disagree. I mean, there was that whole Theon and John thing. So I mean, I kind of didn't really notice that. So, but other than that, I mean, I enjoyed the episode, and yeah, I think it was pretty action packed. A lot happened, but again, you know, we didn't see any Stannis and stuff. They were careful to take out
Yeah.
characters. We saw a little bit of Robb, but it wasn't really that memorable for me. It was, you know, we figure out, okay, he loves somebody and then he can't marry her, and that was just kind of it. So I mean, hopefully they'll unravel more with Robb in the next episode, and I would like to see more of what this thing is with John too.
Yeah. Like I think that this looks like we're gonna have some nice, good like character some like individual storylines kind of coming along now, especially with John and with Daenerys too. So I think they'll be interesting little bits.
So, on that note, join us next week for another fantastic, exciting, action-packed episode of
Game of Thrones.
Thank you. Bye.